Isanharado na Jesus ene danalai kona una grauna lalai agonara amen. Amen, amen. I said to you, truly I tell you, I am Jesus, the called Christ, the Word made flesh, Messiah. Worship in the earthly tabernacle. Hebrews 9. Worship in the earthly tabernacle. Now, the first covenant had regulations for worship and also an earthly sanctuary. A tabernacle was set up, and its first room were the lampstand and the table with its consecrated bread. This was called the holy place. Behind the second curtain was a room called the most holy place, which had the golden altar of incense and the gold-covered Ark of the Covenant. This Ark contained the gold jar of manna, Aaron's staff that had budded. On the stone tablets of the covenant, above the ark, were the cherubim of the glory, overshadowing the atonement cover. But we cannot discuss these things in detail now. As it's stated in Hebrews 9, 2:5. The overshadowing atonement cover was the holy place. You know, which I showed you in my post about the St. Peter's Basilica, which those times they could not discuss it because they have no idea. I did not tell them those times. What it was. That is why they said they cannot discuss those things those times. Above the ark were the cherubim of the glory. I was the cherubim of the glory, which is my yacht. You know, what they placed on the top of the ark of the covenant above the head of the body of the Christ on the cross with its iconography. You know, with its iconography. You know, this ark contained the gold jar of manna, Aaron's staff that had budded. That is the holy bread, the ostias. You know, that is the ostias that they placed in the brass, which is gold jar of manna. You see how they do that in the mass? That is what it is. The ark contained the gold jar of manna. The manna that Aaron's staff that had budded is the body of the Christ, the cup. You know, the chalice of life, the cup which they placed a juice or wine in it. Only a bit of wine enough for a priest to taste it. You know? Which had the golden altar of incense and the gold-covered ark of the covenant. They covered it with my white cloth that symbolizes the cloth that I have folded and placed it into my head. You know, before they started the mass, they will cover the bread, they will cover the wine, and they will cover the jar of manna. What is the jar of manna? Another thing. The holy water. The holy water that they sprinkled into humanity, those that are around in the mass, which is written also in here. I will tell you in the next record. Behind the second curtain was a room called the most holy place, which had a golden altar of incense. The most holy place behind the curtain was a room called the most holy place. Why it is called most holy place? For that is the place where the priests, the angels, change their clothing before they go in front of the people. You know, before they go in front of the people. That is why I said to you, only those who were in the seminarians knows what I speak, because that is what I lead them to as Holy Spirit before I incarnate. A tabernacle was set up in its first room where the lampstand and the table with its consecrated bread. This was called the holy place. The altar of the Father where they placed the ostias, the chalice with its wine in it, with its both sides they have lamp, they have candlestick in the both corner. You know what symbolizes with that? The mother and the daughter. The two kindle, just as now, I and my mother. You know? Which is in that altar. The Bible is put somewhere else for those who will deliver the gospel, and for the priest has its own in front of him. The most holy place. You know, that is the tabernacle that is set up in its first room where the lampstand and the table. That is the altar with its consecrated bread. Consecrated, the ostias. You know, the holy bread. Why the lampstand means, you know that before you go to churches, there is lampstand where you can lit candles. Candles for whoever you want to pray to. Just as how you wish on your birthdays. You lit candle. That is the lampstand in its first room. First room, and after that, the table with its consecrated bread. Like that. In the land of smile, there is my favorite hospital, what you call church. Because that's the only place where I go when I feel really, really bad, you know? When I really, really feel bad and I wanted to cry and I needed a place to cry without anyone to see me. To lift up the burden inside me, I go to this church, St. Nicholas, where I was. I go into that church where I saw whom you call Jesus and my mother. You know? I go into this church on my own. I don't get scared if there's nobody around it, and behind that is cemetery. For that, those that inside of it, they pray and pray and pray every day, every night. Usually every day, every night. Why? Why every day and every night? Because they are already dead. They knew already what sin they have been throughout. You know? I go there, I sit there, I cry there, and stand in front of my mother's statues. For it is my father in it. You know? And in that, as it was touched by the cherubims, as it was touched by the angels, as holy bread, as object, statues. It is touched by the angels, humans. As it is too written in the book, as a tree that the birds perch on. You know? And I stand in it, in front of it. I let my Father feel my burden inside my heart, what I really want. And then I will leave when I feel better. That is the true church. Stop pointing fingers because you will be dead. A tabernacle, that is the tabernacle that was set up in the beginning. A worship and also an earthly sanctuary. An earthly sanctuary for the angels who want to let their burden out. As worship in the earthly tabernacle. That is the earthly tabernacle where you go. The Holy Catholic Church. While your spirit, when you are asleep, goes to the mountains of the world Sinai to preach and pray for the souls. I am the cherubim of the glory that above the ark. Mayat.